On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Oh my gosh, there's a lot going on in the Q world. And I did a video for my other channel. By the way, if you're into manifesting and all that crazy stuff, it's Dan RadioStyle. Check it out if you want. But if not, this is On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. First off, it was just something that bounced through me. This is something that was shared on the Q board. And it's an interesting picture if you look at it. But at first I was kind of like, all right, well, first it's Lady Gaga, deep state, totally. One of the biggest deep state portrayers out there. With some of the biggest assets. Like going back to, 76, right? 4 years, 4 years with him, 8, 8, and 8. This is 32 years of progress. This goes to show where the deep state's been at. This is not a Democrat-Republican war. No offense to anyone that's on either side. That is not what this is about. This is about the deep state versus actual people. Us having souls, actually having an opinion, us actually mattering rather than just being a battery or a producer of money. We are way more than that. Truly, I think that's what this has to do with. There is a major effort right now to divide us. There's no way we can win this if we don't unite to some degree. And let's put it this way. The more we're able to unite, the easier this victory will be. The more fractured we are, the harder this victory becomes. So very important to keep in mind. Now, one other thing to point out, the fact that this guy is in the middle is also very important to pay attention to. Of course, his son would be right next to him. And then, interestingly, Obama is next to him. Now, what I guess I'm slightly surprised is that it's not him. I actually expected this guy, but this guy's so busy hanging out with young ladies and touching them places he shouldn't, right? Like, those are sick people. I know it wasn't good, whatever. This guy has no clue what the hell's going on, and I swear to God, it's like Weekend at Bernie's. That was the only way to get him to even smile like this, right? They had to play music, and then he was like, ah. When the music started playing, it was totally a Weekend at Bernie's moment. Anyway, post 4452. Harridge, she points out something very interesting. Again, follow the pens. So now she's, I think, intentionally doing crap with the pens, which is bothersome. Because now it's what, like 12:30? What the, 12:31? What is that? I don't even know what that means. Am I late for lunch? Is it early in the morning? Should I be asleep? What's going on? But anyways, Mueller did not substantiate this whole thing. The financial compensation, what paid for this dossier, they knew. They figured it out. There was not enough credible information for the intel community to use the body of this report, but they did anyways. Now, one thing, it's hard as hell to read. There's a little bit of evidence in this document. I personally don't think this is the strongest evidence by any means, but it's a good document and it starts to show and build the picture. Again, we're only getting the driplets. Like, there's still a lot of classified crap and they can't just totally open it up, but this will come back up here shortly. They drip, drip, drip it for a reason. There's a reason why I only let a little bit come out. One, these guys that are going to get busted by their own words are like, haha, you didn't put it all out. Suckers, I can keep lying about it. But ultimately, they're like, no, we're going to drip out a little bit more that's just going to corroborate any stupid stuff that you hop on Twitter and start saying Comey. I don't know why I said Comey. I don't know why it's, someone like his name popped into my head, but it happens. Post 4453, got another post here. So John Solomon's talking about how the U.S. Intel viewed Steele dossier as highly politically sensitive. Highly politically sensitive. You think? It was paid for by the opposition. Literally, they knew that. That's what that other document was sort of hinting at. Paid for by the opposition. How else could you assume it would not be tainted in some way? Like the oppositions would be like, no, I swear it's totally like up and up. I know it just makes everything possibly bad look horrible against Trump. A little convenient, maybe. I'll just say. I don't know. Again, Occam's razor sometimes, it works both ways, right? There's times, and believe me, there's plenty of crazy theories I got where I'm like, all right, I'll fall back a little from it. U.S. Intel viewed Steele dossier as highly politically sensitive and mostly uncorroborated. It's like that deer in the headlights thing, man. I love his eyes. His eyes, they're huge, giant eyes. Anyway, 2 months after the FBI used Christopher Steele's dossier to support a warrant targeting the Trump campaign, U.S. intelligence officially declared his evidence was highly politically sensitive. Minimally corroborated, not worthy of including in its analysis of Russian election interference of newly classified documents. What? But some people are like, all right, well, I got you. No, then they used this document multiple times after establishing this. Multiple times it was like, well, the Steele dossier says, or the whatever they called it, dossier, right? The dossier of deliciousness. I don't know what they called it. They might have a cool name. Post 4454, another Fox message here, but we were all played. Corrupt politicians scared us into giving up control over the most basic questions in our lives. At the same time, they gave more power to their obedient followers like Antifa, while keeping the rest of us trapped at home and censored online. Virus or election? Virus or excuse to push the vote by mail? Now, again, the big point that's constantly being made is it's not okay for us to like go to church or go out and protest about being shut down. That's bad. You shouldn't do that because the virus, right? It's very dangerous to be out in public next to each other, even if you're wearing masks. I mean, just the fact that you rubbed elbows with someone, you're dead. You're going to die in 4 seconds. But oddly, if it's a violent protest or, again, riots or protests even, which even peaceful protests for that matter, which, again, I agree with, are constitutionally okay, but so is going to church. Going to church is constitutionally okay. And I think that's the thing they keep trying to call out is, what is this, like, why is it okay to do this one thing, but the exact same thing, but one that favors a different side politically maybe? Why is that not okay? And that's where the real problem starts to lie. Tucker Carlson has a great piece here, and it's 10 minutes long, and I've been watching a lot. Tucker's been doing some crazy stuff, and I know I've called him out before, and I'm still wondering, but he's like kind of the weird lone gun star, right? Like, nobody can advertise on his channel. This guy's been banned heavily, and if you watch his show, there's very few commercials. It's kind of cool, actually. But he still puts together an amazing broadcast that I think is worth bringing up. Let's at least check out like a minute 20 of this or something like that.
The people responsible for doing all of this say they have no regrets about it. We faced a global calamity, they say. COVID-19 was the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu. That flu killed 50 million people. We had no choice. We did the right thing. That's what they're telling us. Is it true? The answer to that question matters, not just because the truth always matters, but because the credibility of our leaders is at stake here. This is the biggest decision they have made in our lifetimes. They were able to make it. They rule because we let them. Their power comes from us. So the question now and always is, are they worthy of that power? That's not a conversation they want to have. And right now they don't have to have that conversation because right now all of us are distracted and mesmerized by the woke revolution underway outside. They just created a separate country in Seattle, huh? And as we said, we'll bring you the latest on that in just a minute. But we do think it's worth, for a minute, taking a pause to assess whether or not they were, in fact, lying to us about the coronavirus.
I think that's one of the key points that he's really making. We've been told a lot of things. Well, it's like it's the best they knew at the time. That's always the answer we hear. Okay, well, that's good and all. Don't get me wrong. I get we had no idea what we're up against. But here's the thing. Now we have a much better idea of what we're up against. Yet there's a lot of talk that there's going to be a discussion around the possibility of starting a second lockdown. Now, I don't think this is going to go over well, and I'm reasonably sure most of us are not going to be too thrilled about that. So, I think just the fact that we're already talking about it gives us a great deal of power to do something about it in advance. So just remember, keep that on the tips of your tongue because there's a few things that are going on. The election, right? They want to mess with the election, and I've got a really cool idea. And I guarantee you, I haven't heard it anywhere else, but I guarantee you this is what's probably going to happen. 4455. What happens when the Ds can no longer cheat electronically? True, that's been stopped, truly been stopped. This is driving them insane, so they're trying to figure out another way they can rig the votes, and they don't know how to. So they're trying to do this pandemic thing, and by doing the pandemic thing, you shouldn't be able to go out in public and vote. But, give me a sec, because I've got an awesome idea. Maybe you've already thought of it, maybe you are right now, because I'm already thinking of it, but give me a second. This push for vote by mail, like that's the only other alternative. It's not. What event was necessary to provide cover for that push? The pandemic. Now this whole thing here, the 73-0, President Trump's perfect congressional endorsement record. Okay, I'm 100% sure Trump is behind. This is a Q plus part of the post. It depends how you look at those numbers. No matter how you slice it and dice it, Trump's done awesome, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Perfect. When he starts throwing the word perfect in there, you know it's a Q+. Come on now, 73-0. I doubt it. He's done really well. I looked at a couple other sources is all I'm saying, and it kind of depends how you slice the numbers. And so anyway, but he's done very, very, very well. So please don't get mad at me. That's not the case. Now, here's the thing I think is going to happen. They get to the point where we're going to we have to do the elections a different way, online. You set up a couple places where someone can spray down a computer if you don't have one. Otherwise, you probably provide social security number, possibly another form of ID, or an address, or a zip code, or something to make sure we tie all the information together. Not a lot, but certainly something that you should have if you're a citizen, just to be able to verify who you are, just to be able to verify that you're who you say you are. Now, a couple good things come out of this. One, yeah, that is basically fakeable, for sure. But not hackable, because I know they can harden that. Two, you can definitely cross-reference those data points. And if you're someone that's got a social security number that doesn't necessarily have the other data points that are easy to have, you have a problem. Third, if you're someone that's maybe not here legally, you're now a lot less likely to hop online at some location and then start admitting different information, and the fact that you're using that social security number that's probably not yours, right? That starts to create a little bit of a problem around that. So a hardened way. So again, on the deep state side of things, dude, you guys are going to get smashed on this. You've got nowhere to go, and it's not going to be by mail. Now, there may be a way to get around that, but actually, if they go digital, that kind of takes away the whole needing to be able to vote by mail at all, which removes a lot of potential fraud. Just saying. 4456, we got a number of things here. Committee approved this 12-10. Now, I just think it's funny. The Senate was always the block. That's what they've been talking about, and it's very true, because the House Republicans is owned by the Democrats completely, to the point where they could literally, I was looking in the Constitution, you realize a 2/3 vote, and they could actually remove members of the House? Literally. They can vote to kick members out. 2/3 vote. Yeah, I think they could probably pull that off, but if you think of the ramifications of kicking out the Republicans, how badly that'd go over. But again, the Senate was always the block. Barely is a block, and of course this next election is going to matter in a huge extent. But that being said, 12-10, this vote passed. Why it matters? Well, Graham now has sweeping authority to subpoena documents and more than 50 individuals related to the Russian investigation, including former FBI Director James Comey, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. Now, of course, he likes to share stuff with us. Chairman Graham announces blah, 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 blah. We got all sorts of people in here, man. James Baker, William Barr, Dana Buente, John Brennan, Clapper, Comey. Who else we got? There's a bunch of names in here, man. There's a whole slew of awesome. McCabe. What else we got? Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr. We got the whole crowd there. Lisa Page, yay. John Podesta, Samantha Powers, Bill Pristrip, Steve. Wait, where is it? Susan Rice, Rod Rosenstein. We've got there's a couple more. I remember Peter Strzok and a partridge in a pear tree. Sally Yates, I think, was the last one. I really wanted to nail on that. Senate Judiciary Committee gives Graham sweeping subpoena powers. He's able to pull all these people in now. If you think about what happened, the circus that went on during the impeachment trial, some of these people were tied in with that. And one of the things that is brought up either in this post, nope, in the next one, I think. One of the things that's kind of interesting is when you paint out all this information, when you essentially drip, drip, drip a little bit of what we've declassed, and then you call people in front of the Senate to testify, and then you allow them the opportunity to choose. And it's always a choice in life, folks. We choose, right? Everything's a choice. I either choose to tell the truth, or I choose to continue the deep state story. Now, continuing the deep state story in front of Congress after putting your hand up and all that kind of stuff, that's called perjury. And that's a criminal offense. And will get you in big trouble. In fact, I think they tried to impeach people for it. Right? So there's a lot of things that are starting to build. These people are going to be brought in front of the Senate. They almost have to continue to lie because of what they've already said. Now, the other thing that's also being brought up is they've said some things behind closed doors while under oath, and then publicly come out on CNN and Twitter and all these other locations and completely blatantly lied. Again, this is going to bring all that out. This stuff's being put on C-SPAN so they can't hide. And people are going to take videos of it. They're going to cut it. They're going to throw it on YouTube. All this stuff's going to be all over the place. And then they're going to put the other video next to you. You don't need deep state fakes when you're pulling legitimate C-SPAN effort and then CNN information. Please. I mean, granted, yeah, because they're talking about deep state fakes. That's the only reason I brought it up. It's already being talked about, right? Because how else are they going to deal with the fact that they're going to be on tape saying things, but they're going to get nailed on this. So again, post 4457, logical thinking. Do you hold hearings before or after selected items declass? We've talked about that before, and if you think about it, before or after. If you declass before you pull them into oath, well, right, they know what you got, sorta. But if you pull them in before you declass, well, they don't really know what you got, do they? So now you're setting them up, or again, as the adage goes, giving them enough rope to hang themselves, or do the right thing. And that's where it's always the choice. Are they going to do the right thing? Or are they going to support the deep state agenda? Logical thinking. Do you hold your hearings before, right? How do you exert maximum pressure publicly? C-SPAN. C-SPAN's got to play all this stuff. It can't cut away. Can't. Not allowed to. Senate was the target, always. 4458. Why are the D's attempting to remove their past as Confederates? Knowing the past helps us to understand the present. We learn from the past, right? Isn't history what we learn from? Now, again, there's the whole adage of, history is written by the victors, so you don't really get to hear from the losing side. So, yes, there's a lot to be said about all the history that's present, but fact of the matter is, our history as a country, especially the darkest parts of our history as a country, tends to not actually favor the Democrats. That's the problem that the Democrats currently have. Look at the 13th Amendment and how it was voted for. It was actually voted against by Democrats solely. I think there was 56 of the Democrats, and then there was like 14 Democrats, whatever. And there was some weird union party, and then there was the Republicans. 100% of supported getting rid of slavery. Women's right to vote also was an oddly slanted amendment vote. So it was a 19th Amendment. A little harder to find the info on it, but again, another vote that was oddly divided. And the side that was against it was the Democrat side. So the Democrats don't like their history, and they're trying to rewrite it because it's not convenient for where they are today. Today, they're everyone's savior. They're the savior of all races. But in reality, they're not. They're actually the ones that progenerated, I don't think that's right, they caused a lot of the problems that exist today with that great little southern accent that they'll just throw at you as they bat their eyelashes, but then slowly do horrible things to you. Statues which fill the Hall of Congress, thank you, Pelosi, for telling us this, reflect our highest ideals as Americans. Today, I am once again calling for the removal of the U.S. Capitol. The 11 statues representing Confederate soldiers and officials. These statues pay homage to hate, not heritage. Now, there is a very cool article. It was the Washington Post, I think it was, and I had it open, but I closed a bunch of stuff and I lost it. Anyway, and I'm filming now. Too late. Her dad was like the mayor of Baltimore, and he brought in this statue and did this big whole thing, hey, let's celebrate this guy. Her dad, yeah, Alejandro or something like that. She's very Italian, very cool last name, so it's neat to see what dad's name is. So, of course, yeah, Pelosi's also been in politics her whole life, big surprise there. But I think the important part is that ultimately this Confederate general became a Secretary of the Senate. I think their point is that you guys really have never, held any qualms about doing bad things. That's kind of your style. Historically speaking, this is what you've done over the past. So again, that's why the Democrats are trying so hard to change their history, because it's not very convenient for all the lies that they're trying to tell us. It's like, yeah, we love all people. It's like, well, here's a bunch of historic stuff. Oh, okay, we're going to hang on. Tomorrow we'll talk, and then they go and delete all that stuff, right? And then tomorrow they're like, we are the best and we love everybody. And we're like, well, we remember seeing articles, but you're right, we can't find them anymore. This guy's cool. He's gotten brought up a couple times now, and it's just a beautiful thing that he's saying.
Fly the American flag. During the Civil War, there was two types of flags that was flying. You had the American flag that represented the Northern Republican Party. You had the Southern flag, which was a Confederate flag that represented the Democratic Party. What's the difference between both? One for freedom and one not to stop slavery. Black Americans, I want you to educate yourself. The American flag is our symbol of freedom. Without that flag, we would have lost the war. The Democrats want you to hate something that gave you freedom. Don't fall for it. Thank you.
Amen. I mean, seriously, that's where we're at in a nutshell. It's horrible. So anyway, got to take a deep breath sometimes because, again, they've been brainwashed. You can't blame them, right? They've been watching a lot of SpongeBob lately, and they got all these crazy thoughts that you should wear square pants, and no one should wear square pants. That's silly. No one. Not even if you're square-shaped. He's a sponge. He'd fit into just about any skinny jeans you threw him in. Please. Unless he was wet. Who knows what will happen. The hole runs deep, folks. I'm telling you. I'm not making this up. This is a post by Jason Buttrill. Sorry, I know it's Buttrill, but where's the fun in that? None. Zero. When you click to donate Black Lives Matter, it takes you to Act Blue. It's true. Act Blue, Candace Owens, I think. I'm going to give her credit anyways. Whether he got it first or not, I don't care. I'm giving Candace Owens credit because I like her. I think she's awesome. But if you donate money and it goes unclaimed, Act Blue disperses the money however they want. These are their top expenditures so far. This is 2020 money, folks. Okay, we're June 14th, 2020. $186,780 for Bernie. And you're pretty sure that dried up not long ago, right? Like, I don't know, 2 months ago? At some point, they stopped spending money on Bernie Sanders, right? So they've spent a lot of money in the first 4 months of the year. Then go ahead and look at Biden for president. That probably started, shortly after, right? And then all that. So that's 119 million, big M, for Biden so far this year, June 14th. And you know that's just going to go up. 93 million for Warren, Pete for America. Like I've showed this graph before, there's a bunch of people that you can see on the screen, obviously, that have donated many, many millions of dollars by this Act Blue group, this BLM group, and they are tied together. Now, Candace Owens talked about a new hashtag that they're trying to push, which is hashtag All Black Lives Matter. And I'm just bringing it up. Post 4460. We've got a YouTube here that I can't play because it's YouTube. It's good and bad. They can no longer hide in the dark, and it's happening. You are watching it. The world is watching. And really having faith in humanity, it's an important thing to bring up. First off, people are awakening. Kind of, if you think back to when maybe you were the one that finally woke up in your own little world and realized what was going on, like what were some of the things that started happening? What were some of the things you started realizing were lies? How did you feel, right? It's a process. It is truly a process. And really the best thing we can do is hold our arms out when these people are ready to start waking up and embrace them and welcome them in. But I think ultimately things got to get bad and a little bit worse and then a little bit worse. And then eventually more and more people are like, whoa, what is going on? When is it okay for someone to take over 6 square blocks or whatever of a Seattle area? I mean, when is that okay? Like, there is some crazy stuff going on right now, and that's not okay. There's also a lot of videos that are starting to come out that are showing incidents that have been enraging people, but actually when they show the videos or the incidents in fuller context, it actually offers some perspective into what happened. So again, there's an intentional divide that is occurring, and a lot of these sources that are inflaming people is mainstream media. They're the ones showing the videos. They have the whole video. They've intentionally chopped it in such a way as to enrage people. People are starting to wake up. This is a great come together. It's a music thing, and then there's some interesting little parts where talking happens, and it's all whoa, 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 and it's great. I'll put the link below. Post 4461. This is just painful to see. Only when evil is forced into the light can we defeat it. Only when they can no longer operate in the shadows can people see the truth for themselves. Only when people see the truth for themselves will people understand the true nature of their deception. Seeing is believing. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. Sometimes you must show them. Only then will people find the will to change. It had to be this way. This is not another 4-year election. This is a change of the world, guys. God wins. This world's changing for sure. That is the absolute epitome of disrespect. Again, people have to see it. At what point do you, even when you're on the left, look at something like that and go, that's not cool for us to be doing? I get you guys think everybody on the right's a bunch of horrible people, and I get you think this, that, and the other. You got to look in the mirror once in a while, too. Are you guys behaving in the best that you can be? Are you being all you can be right now? Or is anything okay because it meets the cause? Because that's crazy, radical, and if that's what you are, yeah, hey, just eventually you'll wake up, I hope. 4462, division is man-made. It is. Kids learn it. Kids learn it. You're not just born hating people. No, you learn to hate from your parents, from your grandparents, from your family, from your city, from your neighbors. It's a learned thing. You're not just born hating people. Division is designed to keep you powerless. Division is designed to keep you fighting each other. Division is meant to keep us enslaved. The narrative has you. No one person's above another. And that's the rule. That's what the Constitution and the Bill of Rights are all about. We are all created equal. Equal. You could be of an alternative sex, you're still equal with me. You could be of an alternative color, you're still equal with me. You're of an alternative sex, you're still equal with me. We're all equal. Or I get to be equal with you at the very least. However you want to look at it. We're equal. 100% down the road. Doesn't matter who you are. Has our experiences been the same? No. And no one's experience is the same. No one's experience is the same. And certainly none of the same races' experience amongst themselves is the same. We all have different experiences of life, but we're all equal in God's eyes and should be in each other's eyes, and hopefully we're getting better and better at that. In unity is strength. In unity is love. These are core important things to remember. Loving one another. If you're someone on the left that maybe hates someone on the right, or someone on the right that hates someone on the left, that's your family. Understand they're your family. Love one another. Unity. We have to be the bigger ones. We have to stand up for what's right. We have to demonstrate. We can't be like the other side and just say, well, we're going to make you salute the flag. We're going to make you not take a knee. That's not what freedom is either. I don't like it when people burn the flag. I don't like it when people kneel during the national anthem. But you know what? They have the right and freedom to do that. That is what freedom is, and that is what we're fighting for. Let's not get lost in some of the things that infuriate us, but let's remember really what the fight is about. Trust yourself. Trust humanity too, because people are waking up. Think for yourself, folks. Ask questions. Only when good people collectively come together can change occur. Only when we're showing how to do this and being understanding can this change. 4463, your voice matters. Your vote matters. Everything you see today is an attempt to eliminate that. To remain silent, living in fear, controlled, is to remain powerless. It was a big reason why I finally came out and just said, screw it, I'm doing this channel. I have gotten so much hatred from so many people around me. But I know I'm doing the right thing, and I think about it constantly. But it's like family hates me, like, but it was time. It was time. So again, a lot of people are making way bigger sacrifices. Oh no, my mommy doesn't love me. Get out of here, right? Okay, come on. A moment in time, folks. History has taught us that people will rise. Judgment, Revolution Day, against rulers, especially despots, especially any sort of controlling, communistic, dictator kind of, you have to behave this way or else. That's forcing behavior. That's legislating behavior. That's dictators tell you how you're supposed to behave. That's like Kim Jong-un. Is that what you are, Democrat? You believe in your side so strongly that no matter what, I should be able to force others? That's what dictators do. Is that okay? When you look in the mirror and you see a dictator, are you cool with that? Again, if you are, groovy. If not, let's look at ourselves a little bit. Modern day slavery is what's going on right now. It's on the backs of the people too. I'm reading this backwards, but it doesn't matter. History has taught us that people will rise against from pharaohs, kings, and elected officials. A rigged system of control and corruption, basically evil, on the modern backs of people. People do rise. They get tired of it. People will put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Man, don't even get me started on a lot of the crazy cool stuff that I love to talk about other stuff that's happening in a higher heavens sort of way, maybe even underground. Hey, the concept of powerless, by the way, you guys might not know this. Cambridge, dictionary.cambridge.org. Just to say they've recently changed, apparently, to this new definition of what powerless means, and that's, the police seem to be powerless equals unable to prevent these attacks. So just in case you didn't understand how this was supposed to help you define powerless, because it really doesn't. It's using it in a sentence, but it doesn't really help define it. The villagers are powerless against the armed invaders. It doesn't really even define the word. Oddly, that makes me think that Cambridge.org is probably a bad place to define your language. Just thinking. 4464, the how will be hard for a lot of people to understand how all of this happened, how all of this began. I showed that picture earlier with all the presidents. This has been going on for 32 plus years, way longer than that, by the way, but just calling out the 32 in a row. Yeah, just saying. But focus on the why. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? They're trying to get control for a reason. That's one thing people don't ask is why that's happening. Why is it now? Why did the 16-year plan happen now? There's a reason for that as well, but that's even more crazy. So let's just stick with the fact that they want control badly at all costs. So they're trying, and there are things that were put in place before Hillary ever got into office because they take time to get going, and Hillary didn't win. They never saw that coming. That screwed a lot of stuff up. So now we're in this weird place, and the win is now. They are fighting for their lives. They have basically until November 3rd to get this resolved, and they're going to go about it in any number of ways they can. But what's funny is they keep failing. They keep causing themselves damage. Every time these riots happen, they tend to happen in places that have been controlled by the D's for years, for decades. So all these problems and injustices that the left is saying, hey, we're the right ones. We're the righteous. Hey, check out the history that we're changing. We're totally awesome. It's that, yeah, but look at the current right now. Like, everyone hates you. Like, all your cities are in ruin. So, yeah, biblical times. Kind of how it worked with Sodom and Gomorrah and all that crazy stuff. I'm not really into the Old Testament as much. There's good stuff in there, don't get me wrong, but a long time ago. So this is something that a lot of us have heard before, but we forget about it. 4466, when the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the natures of God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for the light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under the absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patent sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former system of government. If that's not ever been more true in our history since it was back then, right? I'm just saying. So the Declaration of Independence, obviously, for those of you that didn't know, like, I swear that sounds familiar. I've heard that a bunch. Here's that wonderful post, 4467. Symbolism will be their downfall. One, the colors with the white. Two, it's who it is. Got to kind of call that one out. They're fighting to regain control. You stand in their way. You awake is their greatest fear. It's not just their fear. It's a guarantee to stop them. Guarantee. They cannot accomplish what they want to accomplish so long as we're awake. They can't. Something weird that popped up. Go digging through that particular post. This guy, when I went down that rabbit hole, This color thing was really interesting. Mike Pompeo did this with the dog's leash with that color. There's pictures of Trump wearing that color. The Kennedy thing with that color. Oh. There's something deeper there that I don't get, but interesting. The Daily Beast pointing out something really kind of funny. I love this. Democratic Party is like falling wall, right? It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And CNN, MSNBC, CBS, and NBC are friggin' holding that building up because otherwise it would crumble under its own weight. Oh, yeah. Kind of cool. They tried to save this thing that Molly Young-Fast sent out. Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Apparently, she deleted that tweet. I'm sure the Wayback Machine's got it. I could have done it, but as you can see, the show's plenty long already. It's a cool post, and it's kind of got a weird double meaning in it that I think some people will see, and I would expect that. 4469 talks about Old Glory and the person that carried the flag and the power of the flag and how great the flag is. I'm not going to read all this, but I mean, it was a big deal. The flag's always been a big deal. There was a person that used to carry it in battle. That was quite an honor to carry the flag. 4470. One must only look to find the truth. Cheryl Gay Stolberg, so gay, spotted this 1977 Biden quote. Oh my God, geez, Biden, we've got some heaven here. Just Biden's amazing. And it's, again, it gets into that contradiction. The things that he's allowed to get away with, and then the media covers for him. And if Trump even has like caviar on a cracker, like instantly Russian collusion, like, I mean, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. What he does, it's guaranteed to be bad. Yet Biden can say and have said some of the most horrible stuff ever, and that seems to be okay. But he warns that unless there is orderly integration, he's favored housing, not busing. My children are going to grow up in a jungle, the jungle being a racial jungle. Well, just to make sure we didn't misunderstand what you meant by jungle. Thanks, Biden, for explaining to us what the hell kind of jungle you meant. That's unacceptable to say anywhere, ever, but apparently Biden can. Oh no, it gets better. Don't think I'm stopping there. That'd be too easy. Welcome to the real D party. No, we're talking this is where it's at, man. Knowledge is power. This is beautiful stuff. Let's take a gander at some of the wonderful things that this guy shares with us. This is 3 separate. I hate when they cut stuff, but again, even the way it might be out of context, I can't even imagine how you could contextually make this okay, but whatever.
Person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that.
That's not a generality, right? Right? I mean, not even a little?
Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally...
First off, I just want to point out really quick, he's saying a bunch of stupid crap, for sure. But on top of that, just a standard thing that the way Democrats think, oh, I yield myself another 3 minutes. I yield myself another $1 trillion to keep our economy going. Oh my God, don't even get me going. This guy, I can't even watch a minute of this guy without going, ah. Breathe in the good air, breathe out the bad.
Literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
All right, I can't keep watching this. But again, you get the point. There is countless places where Biden points out his hypocrisies. More police prevent crimes. What changed? This is a YouTube video here that I can't, of course, play, but it's Hillary Clinton talking about basically the same stuff. Super predators and how we need to be tougher and the cops need to be tougher and blah, 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 blah. From the left. These are your left-leaning weirdos, right? Not yours, because most of you guys are going to be on the right, but still, right? Or hopefully in the center. This is what's going on from the left. This is insanity. Again, the same picture, which is very funny. He apologized the same day. MSDNC provides a free pass for this guy. Black community leaders, millionaires paid by the Tea Party and fly private jets all over the place. They provide these guys free passes. And this is just a great short little snippet of him saying something extra stupid.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Just give the guy points for just using ain't properly. Very proud of him. Ain't a word because ain't in the dictionary. Sure ain't. Another free pass? Possibly. Yeah, this is funny. I'm going to play a really short amount of this, like 10 seconds or something. But it's just funny. This has made me just think, it was like, what the hell was it, like 1882? Where are the powdered wigs? This is Biden here. I don't know who the hell this guy is. 100 million years ago. It's an open vault. They found this guy in a friggin' hole in the ground and somehow made him talk. But check it out.
Up to this point has not reflected any particular concern for the larger contributors.
Well, the fortunate thing is I didn't have many larger contributors, and the only reason... See, I went to the big guys for the money. I was ready to prostitute myself, and
I'm not trying to cut him off, just the fact that he said that right when he did, because I can't play that much of it. It's YouTube. I think I hopefully can get away with that much. We'll see if I had to cut it. Might have. Who knows? But that being said, it was Biden basically being Biden. And this was, I don't know, back in 1827-ish, roughly. I don't know when he did this. It was a long-ass time ago. That being said, that's the end of it all. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, folks. And this guy's getting a free pass. Everything Trump does is wrong. I don't know how else we do this other than we need to find ways to unite. We need to figure out a way to be able to order a pizza with the people on the left. I'm telling you, we've got to come to a way. If we're going to do half and half, right? Half pepperoni, half sausage. Maybe you're the guy that eats those border pieces, right? It's like, I don't like sausage. It's gross if it's on the border there. I might get that sausage juice on my pepperoni. And the sausage lover's like, you might get your pepperoni juice on my sausage. Right? Who got the chocolate on the peanut butter and the peanut butter on the chocolate? It was magic. You know what? I'll take the center slices. Let's do it. Let's come up with a way to get along, because that's what we've got to do. United, we own this. They cannot stop anybody if we're united. They've got us divided over all the silliest things. Let's figure out a way to improve that. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.